After a couple chaotic days, things finally quieted down a bit on the actual NBA trade deadline today. So we do have a lot to talk about. The last few hours were relatively active, but all of the big names were off of the board basically yesterday and a few days ago. And this had to have been one of the wildest trade deadline seasons in recent memory, or even in NBA history. It's hard to recall as many in-season trades involving players of this magnitude that we've seen before shipped to new teams during the season. So let's do a quick recap on a few of the biggest moves from the last few days and list all of the deals that went down on deadline day. So the biggest shocker and the biggest move obviously was when the Lakers acquired Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks on Saturday, February 1st. The Lakers received Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris, and the Mavericks were sent Anthony Davis, Max Christie, a 2029 first-round pick. The Jazz were the third team involved, and they also got Jalen Hood-Schifino and two 2025 second-round picks. This was a stunner. This was a shocker, and it always will be. Some people think it's even rigged. The Mavericks moving off of a 25-year-old superstar, all NBA talent, all-star, for Anthony Davis, who obviously is an NBA champion, who is a former superstar, and a future first-round pick, will never make sense to me. Like, I don't understand what Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavericks, was thinking. I can't believe they had no faith in Luka in terms of his conditioning and his ability to lead the team. He literally took the team to the finals in the competitive West last season. And so I am at a loss of words for this trade. Still, the Los Angeles Lakers always seem to get their way. They're always part of some shady trades. They always get the best of it. And this is unreal. So Doncic has not yet made his debut. I think he's going to be making his first appearance to the Lakers this Saturday. He'll be coming back from a month-long injury in a calf strain. So the deal on the other end maybe could work out for the Mavs in the short term. They mentioned they wanted defense. That's why they wanted Anthony Davis. They wanted more size. And they have faith in Anthony Davis. That's the guy they wanted. That's why they only called the Lakers in secret, in the shadows. I think it's BS that they said LeBron had no idea. Like, come on, LeBron knows everything. He controls everything. And so I think it's just outlandish they were able to pull this off. That's just my opinion. I'm also biased because I hate the Lakers. But in the short term, they think they're going to have a chance to win with this group, and they might have a chance within the next two seasons. Kyrie Irving is still good. He's a little bit older. He's 31. He is now the main guy on this team. Him and Anthony Davis could be a really good duo. They still have some other good pieces on the roster, but I still think they don't have enough in the West. So we'll see. But the Lakers got an absolute steal. They got Luka Doncic for one pick. And speaking of the other move that happened, so the Lakers also traded for Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets on Wednesday, February 5th. So the Lakers got Mark Williams, and the Hornets received Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, a 2030 pick swap, and a 2031 first-round pick. So basically, two picks were involved for Mark Williams, but for Luka Doncic was only one. So talk about crazy, but also talk about a perfect addition for Dallas after picking up Luka, the biggest hole in the Lakers team was having a big center to help with their interior defense and presence in the paint, and also providing a vertical threat for Luka. We saw how well he did with Derek Lively as a vertical threat. So adding Mark Williams obviously was a good deal for the Los Angeles Lakers. The other big trade was involving De'Aaron Fox. So De'Aaron Fox was traded to the San Antonio Spurs, and he is now paired up with Victor Wembanyama. And this trade happened a few days ago, and basically I think it's a really good pairing. So the Spurs received De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin. Kings received Zach Lavine. City Sissoko, I can't even say his name, 2025 first-round pick from the Hornets, 2027 first-round pick from the Spurs, and a 2031 first-round pick from the T-Wolves, and a 2025 second-round pick from the Bulls, 2028 second-round pick from the Nuggets, and a 2028 second-round pick from the Bulls. The Bulls got the worst end of it. They received Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, their own 2025 first-round pick from the Spurs. So it's not a shocker that Fox did end up with the Spurs. That was the team that he wanted to go to, even though he didn't request a trade. But it's where he wanted to be, and it just felt like he was going to end up there. And the surprising part, though, was getting Zach Lavine involved and going to Sacramento. So while Lavine had been mentioned in rumors over the past year or so, and who's also having a very good year, the Kings hadn't been brought up much as of recently, but the deal got done. The Bulls moved off of Lavine and his big contract. The Spurs paired a star with Victor Wembanyama, and the Kings got a heck of a return for Fox. Can't say the same thing, obviously, about the Chicago Bulls. For the other trades, the other big trade, obviously, was around Jimmy Butler and our Miami Heat. So Jimmy Butler was traded yesterday, February 5th, to the Golden State Warriors. He signed a 2-year extension immediately afterwards, so he's going to be locked in with Steph Curry. I think that's one of the best spots he could have gone to, and I think he fits really well on that team. They might have some trouble spacing, but Jimmy and Steph Curry and Draymond could be a formidable trio, especially defensively when it comes to Draymond and Jimmy. But either way, the Warriors received Jimmy. The Heat received Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, PJ Tucker, and Dennis Schroeder. And they were able to move some of these pieces, actually. They also got a 2025 first-round pick from the Warriors, which is protected. Jazz, they received Dennis Schroeder, who was ultimately traded to the Pistons. The Pistons received Lindy Waters III, and Josh Richardson. So the Miami Heat end up with Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and then they flipped PJ Tucker for Davion Mitchell. So they got those three and a first-round pick, which I think was a pretty good pick, or a haul, for the Miami Heat. I wasn't really expecting much back. The fact that they got a first-round pick, I'm happy with. Jimmy Butler finally got out of Miami and his brand new contract, like I mentioned, while the Warriors were able to pick up the star ready mate for Steph Curry that they've been looking for. Took a while to get to this point. It was a messy divorce, but Miami and Golden State are both in better positions now after the deal. Butler can definitely help the Warriors chase one more title, and the Heat can finally move on from Butler and receive some more assets in the process. The Toronto Raptors also were involved in a trade, so I was surprised on this one, but they ended up receiving Brandon Ingram from the Pelicans. The Pelicans got Bruce Brown, who's on an expiring contract, Kelly Olynyk, and a 2026 first-round pick and a 2025 second-round pick. So the Pelicans were finally able to find a taker for Brandon Ingram and at least get some draft capital back for his expiring contract, which I think was huge. The Raptors took a flyer on a high-ceiling player who could fit well with a young, talented core. If they can re-sign him, that's good. If not, they likely only parted ways with a back-end first-round pick next year. The other trade that happened was the Milwaukee Bucks acquired Kyle Kuzma from the Wizards, and the Bucks also received Patrick Baldwin Jr., Jericho Sims, and a 2025 second-round pick. The Wizards received Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, and a 2028 first-round pick swap. The Knicks were also involved, and they received DeLon Wright and cash. So this move was the Bucks wanting to shed salary and also making a bet that Kyle Kuzma shakes off what's been a not-so-great season so far in Washington. At his best, Kuzma can help the Bucks make a run in the postseason as the third option behind Dame and Giannis. Milwaukee is banking on him, benefiting from entering a different situation where he's a role player and not getting as much attention and on a better team. Washington, on the other hand, gets future draft compensation, a flyer in AJ Johnson, and takes on the rest of Chris Middleton's deal. So the rest of the hours, nothing really happened of note. Maybe the biggest piece was DeAndre Hunter getting dealt to the Cleveland Cavs. But other than that, wild, top-heavy trade deadline that all happened again before the final date. But yeah, the NBA landscape has been changed, so we'll see what happens.